we're going live.
Good morning. Good morning. We are live. I just saw that right now.
Yes, we are. We are live on Facebook.
Okay, perfect. Let me just pull up the calendar so that way I keep myself on track of time. Okay, so sharing. Okay. Okay, it is. I'm just giving everyone a chance to join in. We will be starting soon. We are live on Facebook. Oh, let me push this. I just saw this right here. Ah. There we go. There we go. Okay. So 7 a.m. Welcome and good morning, everyone. This is our day 5 with connecting with your guides through meditation. And it's been an interesting 4 days so far, and it just seems to be expanding into something very beautiful. You know, it's like every day is something new. Every day there's more information, there's moments of clarity, and I'm really enjoying this. You know, just like you, I just prepared this with an intention, and that intention is just unfolding in a very beautiful and magical way, is what I just said right now. It's been very magical. So for day 1, just to give a quick summary of what we've done so far. Day 1, we talked about setting the mood and crafting a clear intention. And setting the mood is more about how to go to your sacred space, developing that space within you, within your mind, within your body. Not so much about, yes, making a space in your household that is sacred to you. But what if you're not home? What if you're out and about? What if you're on vacation? Making that sacred space within you, and also making sure you're clear on your intention. And then in day 2, we practice about unconditional loving patience with yourself. Taking away expectations, taking away the ego, taking away over analyzing what you're seeing or experiencing. Just take it with this loving patience and learning how to relax a little bit more, and different breathing techniques that help you to be able to get to that space. And then for day 3, we talked about how to call for protection, surrounding yourself with white light, creating that bubble, that cocoon to protect you. And also how to produce sacred sounds, whether it be through chanting, whether it be through music, whether it be just taking in whatever sound is around you and using that vibration to be able to create it into a sacred sound. And then yesterday, we talked a lot about going through that door and just going into that space with your guides and connecting with them, and just really preparing yourself how to walk in their space and just be, take away any distractions, take away, like I said again, the ego over analyzing judgment, and just being in that space and inviting your guides with you. So for today, I'm just going to go on today. We will be talking about how to open to frequencies and ask for a sign. That's what we'll be talking about. But before we get into that, just a little bit about us. I'm Rebecca and my husband JB, and both of us together, we form the Dual Dragons. We are holistic wellness consultants, also known as the Muscle Whisperers. And I just been giving a little insight of how we work together. Like I've been, once in a while I'll mention the story, but mainly we came together for the purpose of helping heal my sister when she got diagnosed with ovarian cancer 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. And because of that, we realized right away that we had a special gift, not only for her, but for many others. And together we formed this very strong bond and this very strong practice that we realized that we could do so much more with it. And so with that, Dual Dragons was formed. And through that, we've had many experiences with clients, very, again, magical. We go in with the mind, with a medical mind and, massage mind of dealing with their pain, how to take that pain away. But in the process, we'll either realize if it's truly physical, if it's something emotional, if it's something energetic. And we just kind of like ride with the client, what they're prepared for, what they're open to start facilitating their healing process. And so sometimes we've been on journeys where it's like within that day, we're doing what we have to do, or others it takes several, sessions to be able to begin that process. So it's always been very unique, very different. We customize our sessions. They're never the same. And every time we come out of it, just, in awe and just really, also learning more about ourselves, our gifts, what we're capable of, what, you know, what we're blessed with each time. And so that's a little bit about us. And so now we're going to talk about opening to frequencies and asking for a sign. This is for day 5. And I like this because at the end of our life, we will be actually doing the Tibetan bowl for the heart chakra. So this picture was just perfect when I saw it because it shows you here just that frequency and how it just disperses and how it's just everywhere. So how do you open your senses to become aware of these frequencies that are around you? How do you become aware? And like I said, sometimes we have this expectation like, oh, maybe it'll be a unique sound, or maybe it's this. But you saw me the other day where I was using just the sound on my water filter as a form of vibration, or I happened to pick up the sound of the birds outside. We are all made of frequencies and vibrations. So any sound that just comes into your awareness is already part of that frequency, part of that vibration. So, like I said, take away expectations. Just kind of just sit still and just be in that space and just kind of like feel it and hear it. Use all your senses. Sometimes it comes in taste. Sometimes you can hear it. Sometimes you can even smell it. I've had moments where my grandmother has passed away many years ago, and she would wear this one unique perfume that not many people wear. And the minute I smell that perfume, I know she's there. I can feel her presence. So it comes in all senses. You'll hear something. You'll get itchy. Like when I feel the presence of someone, my ears will stop popping and they'll get itchy too. And so, just the chills in your body. That's another sensation. And how do you receive your messages? Through visions, thoughts, feelings? That's what I was talking about, those senses. How do you receive them? Pay attention to the patterns, because a lot of people say, well, how do I know? How do I know? Start, make notes. Start writing down notes. Write down what sensations happen. And then you'll start seeing a pattern. Like I said, for me, it's my ears. I started noticing the pattern in my ears. What affirmation do you ask for? Affirmation is asking that for that sign. I need to know if you are my guide, give me this sign. That's your affirmation. Or your affirmation will sometimes come afterwards when you ask for something, and of course, a lot of us, have that instant gratification, like, okay, well, I asked for it, it's going to happen. And we're waiting and waiting. And we're like, ah, didn't happen. And then like a week later or a month later, it'll happen. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. I remember asking for this. It will come to you when it's time. And that's another thing that I've learned. Time, that always the timing is right. Okay. And then what signs do you need to stay connected to your true path? And this is very easy to, you know, get lose guidance, lose your path, because then we we're just humans. We tend to become followers. Oh, I'm going to follow this person. This person's going to guide me to this. This person's going to give me all the answers. We have all the answers. We are all connected. We all share a piece of a puzzle, an endless puzzle, an infinity of puzzle. It's never going to be finished, because throughout our whole lifetime is a journey of teachings and learnings and experiences that we all need to prepare us for this next stage, and then the next stage, and then the next stage of our life. So I always say, stay connected to your truth path. Follow what you feel is right for you at the moment. I like with this journey, you can't really say, oh, by this day and time, I will be excellent in these skills. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes you just develop skills that you're just like, oh, I didn't think I was going to be able to develop that skill all of a sudden. They just come to you when you least expect it, when it's time. Again, that journey of time. Time is, we always say we have a certain amount of time in our lifetime, whether it's this big, whether it's this big, whether it's a long journey. But whatever your lifetime was, you got all the experiences and teachings you needed to experience within that lifetime. So I don't think of it like, when I go to funerals, when people say, oh, their lifetime is cut so short. I don't grieve that way, because I know that they experienced what they needed to experience in that lifetime. And then they're going to continue on into this beautiful, sacred space that we're all going to go to eventually. So for me, there's no limit of time. Yes, in the human form, there's a certain amount, but it's not the end all. It's just a moment, another moment of experience.
Definitely. We had this conversation with other healers, and I've seen it happen to fellow people I cross paths with, where it's not about I know my purpose or I think I have an idea of my ultimate goal, but then I got sidetracked. No, it's more like I'm interested in learning a modality or how to be a nurse. So you take the path of being a career as a nurse, go full out until you feel you'll have that sign, you feel the frequency that it's fulfilled, and then something else will trigger. Maybe I will get into engineering or developing real estate. And then you fully commit to that path. Most of us, unfortunately, because we sense each challenge or each lesson that we have to learn early on, that we feel so spread apart and thin and like loss of focus. And that's probably most likely most of our journey is how do we stay focused, creating that sacred space to listen to our heart one step at a time, whichever direction it may be, whether it's a different type of profession. And those who are able to learn to focus on, all right, first I'll learn sounding bowls and focus on healing people with that. Then I'll learn massage, or then I'll learn to be a nurse. They depend, but it's their focus to master one skill at a time that you may see, wow, I wish I could be them because they achieve and help so much. Not, and most of us, because we're so sensitive and aware that, oh, I have to hit all these journeys at the same time. And then you feel like you never accomplished or moved forward. And many times those moments of feeling stuck. And it's not, it's just accepting and going with the flow, the journey that you were meant. It doesn't matter which order, just commit the choices you made. And I noticed that even for myself, the challenge was being a massage therapist, being this type of healer, this modality, being a speaker, being able to help people. I was attempting to do all at the same time, and I felt like I had the emergency brake and the brake pedal while my foot was on the gas, trying to move forward and help people. And I just was barely moving, if at all. As Rebecca helped me to let's get focused, we've made strides in the last 2 years, and I've had in the last 10 years of my life of really helping more people because of that focus. And it's just a journey. Your journey is going to be different than our journey. And all we can do is make you aware of how we focus and what tool we focus on. If that tool aligns with you, if that learning aligns with you, then come along with us. But if anything, that's why we created the round circle of healer's round circle, is to provide these different healers that had that focus and had these different mastery and different tools so that you can find your tool that will help you on that current path.
Mhm.
You're on now. And if you're reviewing this, just remind yourself, okay, this path is done, next. Whether it feels like you're zigzagging, you're still moving forward as long as you focus through your heart and your mind balance, not either or.
Yeah, that was actually, you reminded me when I got out of high school, I really had been programmed like, oh, you're going to be an architect, because I loved making drafts of homes and engineer, like you name it. I was very good at, doing the floor plans and, just engineering parts and everything. And I had a really good, it's a good skill, and I still enjoy it. Once in a while, I'll pick up a graph paper and, make a floor plan out of the blue, just because I felt like building my imaginary house for that day. And so, I remember, starting to go to college, but I didn't realize, it's so funny, when I was a child, I I could never hear teachers correctly. It was the weirdest thing. It was like that cartoon Snoopy and Charlie Brown, where the teachers would come on and they would just be like, and that's exactly what I heard as a kid. I could never hear my teachers. The only reason I got by in school was because I was a visual learner. Whatever they put on the board, I just knew I had to copy it and take that information down, and that was going to get me from step 1 to step 2. And so I got by that way. Well, when I went to college, well, guess what? College is all auditory lectures. So I flunked out my first year at Cal State Long Beach. I flunked so badly. Like, I was just not, it was a failure. But it wasn't a failure for me. It was an opportunity to start finding exactly what my path was. And so from there, I tried ITT Tech. I thought maybe that would be the answer. No. And then from there, I started going to Santa Ana College. And in the process, my health deteriorated at that moment. So it was like a snowball effect, from 18 to 25. It's just like I was just on this snowball effect of going downhill. And I always wondered why did I have this issue, this auditory, that I got diagnosed with an auditory processing disorder. Because when I went to Santa Ana College, by then my sister was going in her first year of college, and she was diagnosed with a learning disability. So she had all these special services. So when she went to Santa Ana College, she said, you know what? I need you guys to look at my sister because something's wrong. She's just not functioning. So they tested me, and it was so funny when they were testing me. All of a sudden, the specialist was like, "Can you hear me?" Like, starts screaming at me, and I'm like, "Why is this person
Oh,
screaming
yeah.
at me?" And he's all like, "No, really, can you hear me?" And I'm like, yes, I can hear you fine. Why are you screaming at me? And he's like, I need you to take a hearing test. So he had me take a hearing test. And of course, I passed it because I can hear, but for some reason, I was just not processing sounds. So then they sent me to a speech specialist within the college where they taught me how to become more aware of what I wasn't hearing. And I started realizing that because they said, I want you to, specifically just write down what you hear from your teachers. And I would sit there with this intention and this focus to just write down. By the end of the day, when I went home and I pulled out my notes made no sense. I was like, what did I write? Like, this doesn't make any sense. What? And I was just so baffled at that moment. Like, what is wrong with me? Like, something is wrong. That's when I had that moment of clarity where I was really blocking my true gift. And that's what it was. It wasn't that I had an issue. Now with time, people were like, you can't even tell I have this auditory processing disorder because I've learned to accept that it's not that. It's the way I hear is very different. And that's, like I said, that's where my guides come in through. So, of course, when my guides are around, I'm not going to pick up anything else because my guides are talking to me. Well, whoop, 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 whoop. And so then that's when I realized that I needed to be like, okay, I hear you guys, but at this moment, I really need my ears to be able to focus on this lecture or to be able to focus on this webinar or to be able to hear so I could communicate effectively to this person. And that's what it was. It was just an interesting journey finding that out about my ears. And that's how I discovered that. So with that, it's 7:21. I want to stay on. So let's focus on our senses today. I want everyone just to take a, wherever you're sitting, just relax your body into your chair. If you happen to be able to lay down, go for it. Just lay down, put your screen to your side or your phone on your tummy, whatever makes it comfortable. Close your eyes. And I want everyone to take a nice, deep belly breath. Place one hand on your heart, place the other hand on your tummy, and the only hand that should be moving is the one on your tummy when you take that deep belly breath. Take 2 more deep breaths. Now I want everyone to surround themselves with this beautiful white light. And within that beautiful white light, I want you to look around and see your sacred space. Where are you? What do you see? What do you feel? What do you smell? What do you hear? Continue taking that moment. Look around to see if something new has appeared. If there's a new sound, a new smell. Ask your guide to give you these signs, to make you aware of who they are, where they possibly are. Use the sounds around you as part of your frequency, your vibration. Take this time to sit with yourself. Become aware of how you look. Try to see if you could see yourself. Are you different? Are you wearing something different? Do you smell different? Do you look different? Become aware of how you feel things in your sacred space, how you hear them, how you smell them, how you see them. Now take this time, take 3 deep breaths. First breath, say thank you and goodbye to your space. Second breath, slowly come back. Third breath, become present now. Reground yourself. Become aware of the floor under your feet or wherever, if you may be laying down, your bed, your sofa, your chair. Become present of your grounded surrounding now at this moment. And slowly come back. I ask everyone, if you're not muted, to mute yourself for this moment, because I want to make sure that our guest speaker can be heard and receive the message that everyone needs to receive.
Right before we bring her up, small message I'd like to share with others. Some of you may have similar journey like myself. I struggle to try to hear my guides or receive the message. And at those moments, like I'll hear it, but it's like distorted or unclear. And kind of like Rebecca's, until we recognize what that blockage may be. And for me, there was many programming, so the mental and emotional blockage. I did some mental work, a lot of affirmations and getting more positive mindset, and it helped a little bit. I got some clear message here and there. And it wasn't until I also added the factor of the emotional suppression that I am on the journey of unraveling and peeling the layers of, that I've started to hear more clearer messages and tap into more of my gifts. So for those who didn't feel that they thought or sensed a sign, you're on the path of maybe consider looking to your mental and emotional blockage. And then just trust it. You're learning this tool to move forward so that you can go in a similar path.
Okay. So with that, I just want to introduce our next guest speaker. We have Sarah Lee. She, as a child, hosted a kids' TV news program from 9 to 11. She's a co-author for My Success Formula, licensed mindset coach, hypnotherapist. And here you see all the links and emails. Once you hear her presentation, and if there's something that resonates, like I need to get a hold of Sarah, I think, this is a person that's going to help me on my journey. Here's all her information. Like I said, all the information is on the events page. Also, we will be putting them on the units tab on our Facebook page. If later on you happen to come across these recordings and you're like, I really want her information, it will all be there for you. Okay. And welcome, Sarah. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Rebecca and JB. Thank you so much for having me. First of all, the first thing I want to do with everyone, even though we've just done this, is I want to ground our energy. So if everyone can put their hands together like this, and if they can put their feet on the floor. So when I start a meditation or any kind of spiritual discussion, I am not only calling in my guides, which I believe are part of our higher self, but I'm also grounding my energy first. So the first thing that I think of is ground your energy by putting your feet on the floor like you're growing roots into the earth. So think of it like you're growing roots all the way from where your feet are to the center of the earth. And imagine your feet getting grounded, go through the floor, through your apartment, through your house, down through the foundation into the center of the earth. To me, grounding your energy is very important before you start a process. Now, I'm going to be talking about a process, but I want you to be grounded during this conversation. So if everyone can just take a minute, close your eyes and imagine your energy and your feet growing into the earth like roots of a tree. Imagine yourself like a big oak, like a seed that starts small and it just grows and grows. And if your roots are shallow, that's okay. But you can imagine, you have permission to imagine them to grow all the way to the center of the earth. Now, one of the reasons that I'm here talking to you guys today, I'm going to talk a little bit about some basic things about not only grounding yourself, but meditation and kind of how you get there with yourself, how you get to the point where you understand meditation and can get into a more silent place where you can listen. I want to say this just in a very straightforward way, because this is part of my practice and my journey. If you guys aren't familiar, there's things like Palo Santo, which I assume everyone knows, but if they don't, right? Which helps to clear energy. Obviously, most people know about sage. Most people know about, rocks, quartz, crystals. So these kinds of things can be triggers, right? Or guides, because you can say, I'm going to hold this in my hand, myself, to my higher self. It gives you something to focus on. And most people know that, but just in case you don't, like Debbie had hers and she's like, here's one of my quartzes, right? So when I went on this journey, just so you know, I started meditating roughly, probably when I was probably about 6 years old. I basically went through a traumatic experience. And to me, meditation is the other side of prayer. So when you're looking to pray, praying in general is more asking for something, and meditation is more listening. It's not asking. It's actually you're asking and then you're trying to be completely quiet and completely present, if that's possible. So a lot of times when someone's new to meditation, they say, I don't know how to get there. I don't know how to even begin to get there. And one of the things that I would recommend is using tools like this, like a rock, right? Like Palo Santo or sage, because it gives you a smell that can trigger you and say, oh, it's time to be in this energy instead of what you normally do. It takes you out of your environment. I like things like this. This is a Merkaba, which is an ancient symbol for earth, water, air, right? Ether, you know, that kind of thing, right? And basically, it's used, I mean, primarily in old Jewish, you know, kind of, it's primarily like a perceived to be a Jewish symbol because each part of the symbol is a triangle. And in a sense, it becomes a whole of all of the things that we are, our spirit, our soul, our body, our earth, right? Our fire, air, and water. So it's kind of a symbol. And that's a great thing to kind of get familiar with symbols. So different people use different ways to kind of get into their meditation. I also like sound. So I am a licensed hypnotherapist, and you can get on YouTube sounds that will actually take you into a theta state. And that is a good tool if you haven't experienced that, or if you have. Theta is really when you're a master level meditator, you're going from theta to gamma. So if you actually are master level meditator, it's blank. And there's a science behind this. It's not just foo-foo, but it's been studied actually in universities that people that are master level meditators, they can actually put electrodes on your head and they can actually see people who are able to hold that meditation, because when I say master level, that's really what's happening. And they can hold the meditation in the gamma for 6 hours, 8 hours. An average meditator, just so you know, can get into gamma for 1 second or 2 seconds. So that's a very, very different thing. And when I say that, I want to make sure that we're being clear, that I'm communicating as much as I can, as clearly as I can, that have you ever been sitting and whether you're meditating, whether you're thinking of yourself, your problems, whatever, and you have a like what you feel like is a moment of genius, where all of a sudden you're like, oh, I know the answer. That's that gamma moment. And that's why we, generally speaking, can only hang on to that moment for like a second, a few seconds. As you develop your internal system with your guides, with your spiritual self, you actually can hold on to those moments longer and sit in them and gather more information than just that 1 second of clarity. So to me, one of the intentions to set is that you want to aspire to be in gamma vibration, meaning this is your brain wave actually in this space. This isn't just what I consider hocus pocus. This is actually science. And one of the things that I've studied and I enjoy, and I'm going to use this reference book just so you can understand this. There's a book here. It says the soul, mind, body, science system. So it's backwards. I know you can't see it, but if you want to take a note, this is by a gentleman named Master Sha. He's actually a medical doctor. And I'm going to talk about his story for a second and explain a little bit of how I met him. But I've studied under him. He's a world-renowned multi, I don't know, New York Times bestseller that no one's ever heard of. And I truly believe that no one's ever heard of him because he's kind of like a hidden gem. He's meant to be hidden and found by people at the right time for the right reasons. And so I hate to say it, so his energy isn't used for ill. That's how I feel about him after getting to know him some. He has centers in different cities. He actually lives in Canada now, but he used to live in San Francisco where I live. And basically, Zhigang Sha, which he's a Chinese gentleman, he was a medical doctor and he was an acupuncturist and did Qigong healings and things like that, but kind of really a normal practice, very general, like what people have, kind of like Duo Dragons. He started out very similar to that. And then actually actually got introduced to a spiritualist who lived in China, but in the mountains, in a hidden area. And whether you believe this or not, I mean, I'm not here to debate this topic. I'm just here to give information, and you can see how it resonates with you in your spirit and your soul. But he met this person, was introduced to this person, and they basically said, I have the last of this knowledge from the Chinese emperor. I'm the last person on the planet to have this spiritual knowledge and practice. And there's a video of this, by the way, on YouTube, whether you want to get into this or not. But this woman is believed to be in the hundreds of years old. And she had lived alone in the mountains for many years. And she said, I'm going to die and I'm going to give you the information because now you're going to be the holder of this information. And that's what I've been told to do. And so she blessed him, right? She downloaded, put her hands over his head and downloaded the information. And it kind of just flipped him. It flipped him in a total different way, where now he suddenly wanted to just talk about the spiritual aspects and the science behind spirituality, the science behind connecting with yourself and your guides and your higher self. And it doesn't matter to me whether you believe that or not. It's not important to me. I just want you to know that that's his background. And it was impactful to me to understand this because his life changed pretty dramatically. He's met with presidents, he's met with government leaders. He is a very well-known person in certain circles. But like I said, the average person has never even heard of him. He gives away the books, like the book that I just showed, at his centers. So all of the books are free because he's just trying to get the message out. And how he affords to do this is through basically honor fees. That's what they call it, which is if you have money to give and you had an impactful experience, to go ahead and give money to his, his group. And they basically run these centers and give people free books and basically pray for people and teach people how to listen, to channel, to use energy. It's actually really interesting. So, and just keep in mind, it's not a religion. It's based on a Taoist practice, which a Taoist practice is kind of like Buddhism, just so you know. It works with any other traditional religion or lack of religion, just so you know, meaning it's just a belief system, but it's an ancient belief system. So that being said, I met him and I went through a process with him called Divine Healing Hands. And it's a very interesting process because really it's basically opening up your spiritual channel, for lack of a better way of saying it. And it's just people that are stronger, their channel's more connected than yours. And then they're basically, for lack of a better way of saying it, they're praying for you and helping to clear your energy. So when Rebecca said she could, that to me made me laugh, only because that's that's a spiritual problem. Like she said, that's not a physical problem, the way she was describing it. And part of that happens in part when, like you said, if you're sort of on a different spiritual plane, a lot of times you can't hear people that aren't meant for you. And I don't know how else to say that, but you just can't. You can't really hear them. And so it's funny, I've experienced this with people where I've taught this process and they've said, which sounds crazy, they've like, I can't hear my wife necessarily all the time anymore. And I'm kind of like, because you're on a different spiritual journey than she is. She's not growing, you're growing now. And it's right. And suddenly this is a thing, which, it's not funny. It's just, to me, this is as real as anything else that we experience on this planet. So that being said, something I want to talk to you about just quickly, if you get the chance to look up Master Sha, it's just, his website is www.mastersha.com. And he doesn't speak English hardly at all, just as a heads up, but he does try to speak English. So if you listen to anything he says, it might be a little tricky because you have to listen with your spiritual ears, not your physical ears, but you should get the message. He has a beautiful free practice on his website called Love, Peace, and Harmony. And it's something that I've recommended to people for a long time, that if they're starting to learn to meditate, you can get the download. It's a very simple song and it's catchy somehow. And if you listen to it over and over again, like people will play it in the background of their home or their environment or work, and they'll start singing it. And that singing helps to clear the energy. So one of the things that Rebecca didn't necessarily, does not necessarily have to be your beliefs, but this is my understanding, is that I believe that you need to clear your chakras, right? We have a chakra system. And again, I don't think I'm telling anyone anything that you don't know. And all that is really, we have energy centers in our body. Physically, we have them. Animals have them. Anything that's alive has them. Plants have them. Because that's how we get our life force through our body. So, meaning if you didn't have chakras and you didn't have life force, you'd be dead. I don't mean dead like spiritually. I mean, you wouldn't be on this planet, because your body is animated by that energy. And you can call that God, you can call that love, you can call that the universe. I don't really care what you want to call it. But the point is, it's physically happening. And when your chakras are blocked, which is usually hurt, pain, past life experiences, if you want to go there or whatever. I mean, we can go to a lot of places and I don't want to scare anyone. But the point is, if you want to hear better spiritually, you need to basically clear that bad energy, because that energy prevents you from moving forward, because it stilts your growth. You can't hear because it's really, because basically listening to your guides, in my opinion, a lot of that is your higher self. Meaning you're connecting with a part of yourself that isn't here. And so I'm not saying you can't connect with deceased relatives or other things, but that's not my focus personally. My focus is more connecting with your higher self. And so one of the things I want to just explain is that it shouldn't be scary, because it's you. You're listening in the end to you. It's just a version of you you are not familiar with, version of you that you haven't been taught to listen to. But it's not like you're listening to a foreign body. I mean, some people do, but I don't advocate that, because you don't know what you're listening to in that case. In which case, I advocate that you call in your higher self, your physical higher self, right? And you can call in any kind of guides. Again, I don't advocate that you do that, because I think it's spiritually dangerous. And I think it's irresponsible, honestly, for people to push people in that direction. But that's being said, I don't want to get into that today. Point is, I'm talking about your higher self, listening to and calling in your higher self. So if you do meditations, one of the things that I did in the beginning, obviously, is I said, I want you guys to ground like a tree. It's very important, because my personal opinion and my personal experience, and I've talked to psychologists about this, psychiatrists, I've talked to spiritualists about this, meaning all across the board. People can get lost in their meditation if they don't ground their energy, because they don't know how to get back. And the reality is, we live in a 3D world. We live on a 3D plane, and we have to live here till we don't live here anymore. So if you go on a spiritual journey, and maybe you go to 5D, or you're trying to get to 5D, and you're sitting there saying, I want to experience something, you need to be very careful that you can get back. Think of it like breadcrumbs. You need to leave a path to get back to yourself. And so one of the reasons I advocate people ground themselves like a tree is because I want to make sure that they know how to get back, and they feel very secure and very grounded when they go on any kind of journey like this. So that being said, I advocate that practice. You can, maybe we'll do some more of these. Like, I have so many things I can tell you guys and take people through a practice. So maybe we'll do more of this with Duo Dragons. But that being said, I think it's very important just to understand that conceptually, when you move forward, that you need to be able to get back to yourself. And Rebecca sort of said that, like, hey, come back, be present, that kind of thing. You're present now. But when you are a hypnotist, a hypnotherapist, when you are a meditation teacher, a yoga teacher, any of those things, you need to understand that back to to themselves. Because if not, I truly believe some of the people that we perceive to be crazy on the planet are actually people that went off and they're stuck wherever they are emotionally, mentally, but they're stuck in a loop because they don't know how to get back. And so they're just doing this. And that's why I think people have conversations with themselves, because they're stuck in that emotional loop and they're having that experience over and over and over again. And so I'm an advocate of mental illness being related to spiritual illness. But again, I'm not going to talk about that today, but I'm just bringing that out that I don't really think people are as mentally ill as we'd like to think they are. I think it's a spiritual sickness as a whole. And I wish that people would deal with it that way. I think it would be more helpful and healthy. Now, another thing that Rebecca alluded to is that, and you know this if you've ever been through a hypno class or if you've ever been with a hypnotist, is that all of your memories are stored physically in your body. This is not hocus pocus, this is science. So just so you know, and they would be better, by the way, to talk about this than I would, meaning because they do physical massage and whatnot. But keep in mind that all of your memories, all of your emotions are stored in your body. So when you have an emotional hurt and you didn't deal with it, you actually get pain in your shoulders, in your neck, in your arms, in your belly, in your hips, right? In your lower back. I mean, anyone who's had these kinds of pains, generally speaking, if you go deep enough, you will find out that it's not always a physical thing, that it's a lot of times it's an emotion that you haven't released. So one of the things that I do that's similar to what Duo Dragons does, and I'm here to support them, not to take away from them, of course, is I have a practice, and I don't do this hardly ever for anyone because it's actually takes a lot of energy for me to do it, and it's quite expensive to see me, so I don't even like quote unquote sell this normally. But the point is, I will take someone through a process and physically go through their body, their back, touch all these points, and I can basically bring out memories that they don't even know they have, and then release those memories and release the pain and the energy from it so that they're not carrying that around. And I usually warn people, sometimes after that practice, you're going to look different. And people say, for how long? And I say, forever. And that's not because I made you look different. It's because there's a physical correlation to that pain that then stayed on your face, that made you have wrinkles or gray hair or this thing or that thing. Now, keep in mind, this is going to sound funny, but I'm a student of my, right? I'm a student of my own practices. I'm not a young woman, just so you know, but I don't have hardly any wrinkles. And when I say I'm not a young woman, I'm certainly older than Rebecca and JB. And so that being said, I practice what I preach, meaning I believe what I'm saying with certainty. And I always tell people you only kind of get one shot at this, meaning by the time you understand it, you probably have already wrinkled, you've already grayed and whatever. And now your only real thing here is to teach it to someone else so they can maybe get it earlier, right? Because if this is important for you to understand, and it's not important for everyone, I'm just bringing it up as a point, because people will say, oh, you look so young, you must have done Botox, you must have done this. I'm like, no, it's sleep, meditation, being nice to people. It's a lot of other things that I do that have nothing to do with Botox and surgery and whatever. I don't need to do that. By the way, I do want to mention, just as a heads up, you can lose weight through meditation. That's how important this is. Your body storing extra weight a lot of times is also an emotional safety measure. And I know you probably have heard this, but the reality is you can meditate weight out of your body, because as you heal these injuries, the weight actually will release and it will just go away by itself. So funny enough, another spiritualist that I know, she's also Asian, and she texted me the other day and she said, did I do a thing for you? Which she didn't, but she goes, did I do a meditation for you and you lost 6 pounds of fat? And I was like, no, I did that on myself. But I was like, I'll do a testimonial for you because I know that works and I'll be happy to help you with that. But that being said, she was spiritually led to give or to ask me about that, right? Because not knowing that I actually know that practice and believe it, and people will say, well, that's not real. And the reality is it's something you don't understand. It's 100% real. It's 100% real, because if someone has done it, then anyone can do it. There are very few people on this planet that are particularly gifted beyond a certain point, meaning we all have access to roughly the same information, the same spiritual gifts, but we don't develop them because we're taught not to. We're taught that it's weird. We're taught that it's scary. We're taught like, oh, don't talk about that. That's strange, that kind of thing. But the reality is, without our understanding of these things, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here as a planet or a species. I mean, there's millions of people that meditate, and I sometimes think, like, quietly, monks and things, I sometimes think if they weren't here, we would die, because we would have a lack of balance on this planet, because there's so many people thinking the opposite, right? There's so many people saying it's not important to take care of your spiritual self, which I don't agree with, obviously, but you get my point, is that there has to be a balance between the negative and the positive. And without those people, who sometimes people think are useless, like, oh, this useless person praying for me, and at no end, what is the point of that? The reality is that energy is present in this universe and present on this planet. And the energy, right? This is physics, right? Energy doesn't really disappear, it changes forms. I mean, that's science. That's not my opinion. That's science. So the reality is that we're neither creating nor destroying energy. We're tuning into energy, and you can't tune into it properly if you don't heal your spiritual self. And that to me is a fact, meaning you don't have to agree with me, but that to me is a fact. And so when someone says, oh, this person's psychic, or they're a channeler, or they're whatever, how I look at that, just so you know, is that it's like they're reading a book. But that book is a physical book, but it's on a plane you can't see, because you're not there, basically, emotionally, spiritually. So keep in mind, I don't believe in psychics in the sense of like people are psychic. I believe in that they are spiritually clear, and they're able to literally read things like a book. They're like, okay, here's the information. I didn't create the information. All I did was see it and find it and relay it to another person. So that being said, I'm going to talk about Zhigong Sha for a minute, just one of these practices, because I love these practices for new people, like people that are new to this process. I want you to understand how simple he makes this, and how he just asks people to repeat these things to their spiritual self. So I'm just going to quickly go through this exercise very quickly. You don't have to do it, but I want you to understand how simple it is, right? Very much what Rebecca said, right? Sit up straight, put one palm on your lower abdomen, which contains your first soul house, right? Put your palm on and you could do this with me if you want. Your first soul house is also known as your root chakra. And this is your key to boosting your energy in your life, right? It's the key to boosting energy in your body. And all of your other energy is centered and grounded on your root chakra. Put your other palm, as Rebecca said, on your heart chakra, right? Put it on your chest, on your heart, which is a key for developing intelligence and spiritual intelligence. So you basically want to, ideally, you want to put your one hand here or here, and you want to put one underneath on your abdomen. And basically, for all intents and purposes, you don't have to do that much. You can repeat after me if you guys are willing to. But this is how he talks about it, and I really like it. Dear soul, mind, and body of my root chakra, I love you, I honor you, and I appreciate you. You are the foundation and energy center for all other energy chakras and the whole body. You have the power to develop yourself. Please develop yourself and do a good job. Now, I love that line, by the way. I want you to understand, because that's really as simple as this is. Do a good job, self. If you tell yourself every day to do a good job with your energy, with yourself, you're going to do a lot of good. And then again, say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I like to do thank you 3 times. And that's how simple a meditation can be. So let's do that one more time. Dear soul, mind, and body of my root chakra, I love you, I honor you and I appreciate you. You are the foundation and energy center for all other energy chakras and the whole body. You have the power to develop yourself. Please develop yourself and do a good job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, this is a very simple practice, right? Anyone can do that. And if you continue to do practice like that, you can probably go back, this is recorded, so you can probably go back and listen to it. This is a very important part of healing yourself. Did you guys feel it? Like Sterling, I think you felt it. I can see on your face. Did you feel it? You felt something, right? Yeah, it's pretty powerful and it's pretty amazing. And I happen to have a pretty clear and strong energy. So when I pray with people, they usually feel more sometimes than they would. But you can do this by yourself, and it's the energy itself, not me, obviously. So keep that in mind. I'm not trying to claim credit for what God does. But that being said, when you have a pain, when let's pretend you had kidney illness, right? Let's pretend you had cancer. I'm not advocating that you try to cure yourself, but the point is, if you can work with this practice with yourself, this helps heal people, especially in conjunction with Western medicine. And really, you want to say, I mean, I hate to say, let's say it's my knee. Let's pretend it's my knee. Dear soul of my knee, because Dr. Shaw believes that each part of your body has its own soul. It has its own energy, and you can talk to it and ask it to cooperate with you. So, dear soul of my knee, please take care of yourself. Please heal. Please release what is ailing you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Do a good job. I love the do a good job part. I really do, because it's so simple that anyone can do it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I swear to you, if you start practicing this in your life, you will see a shift and you're like, oh, I always thought meditation was so hard. I always thought it was like difficult. I can't get blank, all those things. Those things come later as you do work and you clear whatever, and we can talk about that a different day. But the point is, everyone can do what I'm mentioning. Everyone can bring that to their life and actually make a difference in their own physicality. And that is one of the ways that you connect to your higher self, because all you're doing is removing the barrier. You're already connected to your higher self, by the way, just so we're clear. You always have been, you always will be. If you weren't, you wouldn't be walking around on the planet. So the thing is, you're not, quote unquote, connecting to your higher self. You're stopping what's preventing you from connecting to your higher self. That's the practice of meditation, is clearing what's preventing you from it. You're already connected. But the thing is, like Rebecca said, you have things that might be blocking you. You might have beliefs, you might have hurts, you might be like, someone told me I did something, I predicted this, or I felt this and said, I'm warning you. And they said, you're stupid and crazy. And then you hold on to that, right? You hold on to that story. And then that's what you repeat yourself and go, oh, I got to stop doing this because it makes me feel rejected. But the reality is, that's unfortunate, because that person wasn't ready, and that's fine. I mean, it's not great, but it is what it is. But there are people in the world, lots of people in the world, in fact, and lots of successful people in the world who literally meditate every day. Like when you see certain successful people and you look up transcendental meditation and you see people go, oh, I'm a follower of this, keep in mind that whether you think they're hocus pocus and it's LA or whatever you think about it, it's in part because they're learning this lesson. They're getting the soul lesson. And it's important to do this if you want to progress yourself. And I don't mean monetarily, I just mean who you are as a person, getting more of yourself to show up, getting more of you to be there. And you can't listen if your hands are full of junk, right? If you're like, hey, I want to listen, but you've got like stuff in, your hands, you've got to get the stuff out before you can receive. Does it make sense? Yep. So this is the thing, is that there's nothing, I mean, I hate to say it, but this isn't magic. This is a practice you can learn, just like you can learn to write your name, or you can learn 2 + 2. I mean, you know what I mean? This is something you can learn, and you'll actually have an experience to the point where you say, oh, I'm going to try that again. That wasn't that bad. And you can learn to actually help yourself move forward. So I'm also going to do one more practice. This one's a little more, involved, but well, let's do the same thing. Let's ground ourselves. Let's put our feet on the floor. Let's deep roots, and we're strong and we're capable, right? Like a tree is solid. We're going to put our hand on our heart, our hand on our root chakra, and just like I said, just listen to what I'm saying, listen to my voice and focus on it. And you can, in your own head, repeat after me, right? Dear soul, mind, body of my heart chakra and the fourth soul house, I love you, I honor you, and I appreciate you. You are vital for my heart and message center. You are the key to my purity. You are the key for intelligence. You are the key to transform the heart and the consciousness. You are a vital chakra and soul house for love, forgiveness, compassion, light, humility, harmony, and more. You are the key to heal my emotional body and my mental body. You are the key to enlighten my soul, my heart, my mind, and my body. You are the key to self-clear my soul, mind, body blockages. I cannot appreciate you enough for the vital role you play in my life. Please purify yourself. Please develop yourself. Please transform yourself. Please enlighten yourself. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Dear human beings fire, dear Mother Earth's fire, dear Heaven's fire, dear Tao's fire, I love you, I honor you, and I appreciate you. Please purify and develop and enlighten my fourth soul. Please help enlighten my heart chakra, my message center, and my heart. I cannot thank you enough. And then visualize fire coming into your heart, coming into your heart space and waking you up and eliminating things that are holding you back. You all know something you need to burn in the fire, spiritually, emotionally, something you need to release, forgive, forget. Imagine that burning in the fire right now and you being released from it forever. Not for a little bit of time, forever. We're releasing that right now as we speak. It's burning away. You're forgiving, you're releasing. I know it might be painful, it might suck. You don't want to release this, but it's important that we release these things. We don't want to hold on to things that are negative that aren't for us. So visualize that fire burning away the things that are hurting you. Dear my beloved heart and message center, dear my heart-related spiritual, mental, and emotional and physical body conditions, dear humans beings fire, which is human beings energy, Mother Earth's fire, and Heaven's fire, and Tao's fire, I love you, I honor you, and appreciate you. Please join together to heal all of my heart and heart-related conditions. Please clear my soul, body, mind blockages of my heart and heart-related conditions of the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical bodies. I am extremely honored to be in your presence. I cannot appreciate you enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll take a minute to enjoy that, to experience that. And by the way, if someone's like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom or something, please go, because that's normal physical thing that happens when you're releasing toxin from your system. It's normal. It's normal to have a physical reaction. I'm going to repeat one more time, and then I'm going to finish up. Dear beloved heart and message center, my heart-related spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical body conditions. Dear human beings fire, Mother Earth's fire, Heaven's fire, Tao's fire. I love you, I honor you, I appreciate you. Please all join together to heal all of my heart and heart-related conditions. Please clear soul, mind, body blockages of my heart and heart-related conditions of the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical bodies. I am extremely honored to be in your presence. I cannot appreciate you enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We want to ideally, by the way, and that's why the song that he sings is so powerful, because at that moment you can sing the song, and the song, the words are basically, I love my heart and soul. I love all humanity. So it's basically, it's about four sentence long song, but basically you're praying for yourself and for everyone, else. And you're saying, I want to bless everyone, myself included, because I'm part of the whole, right? I'm part of the world. And I want myself to be blessed and focused on peace and love and harmony. And so that's the thing, is if you do these practices and you sing the song, it kind of strengthens your belief and gives you something physical to kind of remind yourself. And then if you play it in the background during the day, it's triggering you. Oh, that's right. I can be happy. I can release this. I have power of my own self and my own body. So the thing is that so often we want to put this on something else. And the reality is there's a lot of power that you have access to right now. You just need someone to kind of show you how it works and then practice. It's called a practice for a reason, because the more you practice it, the better you get, the stronger it makes you. And the stronger you get spiritually, the more information comes to you when you're connecting with your higher self or guides. The more you can say, oh, that resonates with me, or it doesn't, right? No one should try to force a belief system on you. And the reality is your own soul, your own body will say, oh, I experienced that and it resonated with me, or it didn't. And you're ready for it or you're not. And that's okay. I mean, that's the thing, is all of that is okay. The reality is the more you practice, the stronger you'll be able to listen and take in what you're hearing, if that makes sense, or what you're experiencing, the more you'll trust it. Because it's hard to learn to trust it because people tell you it's not real. But I'm telling you the opposite. I'm telling you there's ways and techniques. And the reality is you can buy these books, like you can buy this book. You go on that website, go find his books. I mean, I'm not, an agent for him. I mean, I do his practices and things and I help do work there. But like I said, I don't make any money from that. So, but if you want to do that, I advocate the practices in his books. There's tons of very simple practices like that you can do on your own. And like I said, if you can't get a free book, I think they might send them to you for free. But if you can't get a free book, buy one for. That's going to help you. Go for it. But besides that, I don't know what my time is. I kind of might have gone over my time a little bit, but I hope that was helpful. I hope that that was enlightening in some way. And I'm sorry that I wasn't more enlightening, but I hope that I was leading people a little bit in the right direction. So yes, and namaste, everyone. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now that was a good practice. It was good reminders, good, everything. I really enjoyed what you presented today and just kind of like reminded me of the grounding. And that's, and it's funny because they're all, other healers are, that I go to, like, you need to ground yourself. And it's like, we tend to forget that. We tend to forget to ground ourselves. So that's very important. I'm glad you brought that up. That
can you tell us something that you experienced? Tell us, like, just so, can you, Rebecca, what did you feel? Tell me something.
Oh, for the practices right now?
Yeah.
Yes, I really felt when you were telling me to go, ground, I just could just see my legs for the first time. In the roots, usually I will just kind of be like more superficial. But this time it was much more different, where I actually saw roots going to the core, and then all these other roots just spreading out. And I was all like, when I kind of saw that, I was all like, whoa, I've been around. That was my reaction at that moment. And then when you were focusing on the heart and you were, saying,
To clear the heart. Yeah, that's really what it is. Clearing the heart chakra. Yeah.
Before you talked about fire, it was interesting. Before you even mentioned fire, the first one, I could see my heart bubbling, like if it was warming up, like when you put something to boil and you just see this bubbling. And I was like, oh, that's strange. I've never seen a heart do that. And then all of a sudden you said fire. I'm like, oh, no wonder, it makes sense. It has to get on fire. Like it has to like light up, So it was preparing itself to light up. And so when you were talking about releasing, throwing in this fire, everything that doesn't serve you or work for you, I just saw myself like whatever emotional cord, I saw cords. I saw all these cords that there was still some connected to me. So it was just so easy to just put this fire onto them and just start burning them away. And I was just like, okay, they don't serve me no more. It's time, it's time, it's time. And so that was interesting, just feeling that sensation. And then I just saw myself in this fire at the end, where I was just like in this beautiful fire that is not hurtful or painful, but it felt good.
Right.
And then it reminded me of a time when I was with this one particular client where she was dealing with a lot of issues. And the more I was like tuning into my grounding and just asking for guidance, I remember her lifting her head and she goes, "Are you using hot stones on me?" And I'm like, "Oh no, it's my hands." And she goes, "They're getting hot."
Right. Right.
And just her reaction, her eyes like, whoa,
Because this is physical.
And
This is there's a real physical reaction with your body. That's,
yeah, it happens.
yeah.
Yeah. And so it was one of those moments where I said, oh, I'm sorry. I hope it's okay. I am also doing some energy work as I massage, because I didn't tell her that. I was just, as
Right.
she was talking
You
to
were
me,
thinking it in your head. Yes.
I was thinking in my head and just sending her all these blessings and trying to guide her body to be able to facilitate whatever healing she needed at the moment. And I do that with all my clients quietly on the side. As I'm working on them, I'm just like praying over them and just,
Sure.
please, give them what they need to be able to heal, give them what they need at this moment, able to get, feel some relief, and so that was when she reacted to that, I said, oh,
Let's
I hope.
focus on you for one more second though. So I think it's
Okay.
beautiful what you said about that you saw yourself engulfed in the flames, that you saw cords that you were able to cut and burn. Because
Mhm.
that's your higher self.
Yes.
Yourself, if the way I hear that, right, is I hear your higher self already knew where we were going and started doing the work, right? Already knew, because we're already spiritually all connected. We're already in quantum entanglement, if you want to go that route. I mean, if you want to look that up, there's a scientific, belief system that energy that stays close together continues to be connected, right? So, but that being said, that to me is a bit of a demonstration. And that's the reason why I wanted to ask you your experience, because it gives other people listening permission to go, oh, I had an experience, and how tangible that is, right? That was a very tangible thing you just went through. Cutting cords, right? Your heart bubbling. I mean, I don't know if anyone else wants to share anything, but I want to encourage you to share if you're ready, and if you're not ready, that's perfectly fine. And JB, do you have anything to add to what you experienced? Because by sharing your experience, it helps other people go, oh, wow, that's what I felt, or some, you know what I mean?
Definitely very coming close
You have to
Okay.
speak speak up, or speak to the mic a little more,
to
please.
Definitely. My experience very quick was as I was focusing on rooting, naturally before you mentioned it, my roots went all the way to the core and it just felt like almost dizzy. Same thing when you say, oh, connect to your higher self, you feel dizzy. I was just reminded for that moment, especially Rebecca reminding me about these pearls are actually the roots from your crown chakra and how they connect to your higher self. So I was focusing on one, started feeling this kind of the tunnel, the vortex, and I was like, okay, oh yeah, let's connect to my higher self. And it was like exercising, stretching both ways. And then I felt a line where I was able to feel the movement of the energy. And just being honest with you, I've been going to therapy, and this therapist has been helping me. I just get this visualization of a stuck lava around my heart to my throat area. And then when I did the connection, and as you guided us through this meditation or prayer, mantra, the lava flow. It just broke out of this like stale heat and it just started flowing and melting and just definitely felt the vibration and sensation shifting and free flowing versus stuck energy. So I felt more relief with this little few minutes than I did months of therapy.
See, isn't that beautiful? Yay! I'm like a preschool teacher when it comes to this. I'm like, yay, everyone. But that's how I feel about it. It's true joy, right? It's true childlike joy, not childish, but childlike, which we all need and should have and need more of, right? Everyone wants to connect to that love center, to that heart center of themselves and other people. And it's so often we don't. So, yay, that makes me feel great just to know that I was able to help participate and hold space for everyone here. So, by the way, if you ever hear the term hold space, that is a real thing. There are people like myself, which that's one of my gifts is to hold space for people. But out of context, people go, what does that mean? What does that mean? That's not a thing. But it is a thing, just so you know. And it has more to do with me just being the facilitator than me doing the work. Like I always tell people, I'm channeling the energy for you because I'm holding the space. Think of it like holding a room so you can get more of that energy in this experience with me, if that makes sense. But that is a thing, just so you know. So I don't consider myself spiritualist. I don't consider myself a healer, just so you know. It doesn't mean I'm not one. I'm just saying I don't label myself as that, but I do label myself as a facilitator for this kind of, you know, this kind of healing, basically self-healing. So
Yeah.
anyway, all right. I just thank you so much.
No, thank you. And right now it's already 8:20. So what I want to do is I want to take a moment. Like I said, it all came together. And it's so funny because before I had my guest speakers and before I had the topics, and then all of a sudden, as I'm meditating and getting guidance from my guy, like, okay, what is it that I need to present? They told me, oh, make sure to this time, because in my first course, I talked about the clearing your chakras. And then in this, and I started from the root to the crown. And they're like, okay, for this course, I need you to go backwards. And it just so happens to be that today on day 5, we're on the heart chakra. We started on the crown and we've been working our way down. And so I just found it interesting how it just all came just to kind of like give you that moment of awe, like that child, like, wow, they really put this together so beautifully. Sarah's on day 5, the heart, chakras on day 5. And so I just wanted to share that moment where I'm just kind of like
The
taking
way it all came together, it was
the
better
way.
than what you could have done if you weren't channeling the information or listening to your spirit
Exactly.
self.
It's a gift. It's a true gift when you're able to get to that place where you just could receive and it just all comes together.
One thing I do want to say is before we leave, can we ground ourselves again and tell ourselves the make sure that we return ourselves to ourselves, right? So if everyone can just sit for a second quietly, again, put their feet on the ground if you can, and just put your hands right on your heart, or you can put one hand on your solar plexus and one on your heart, but just say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Spirit, please return. Keep me safe, keep me guided. Return, return, return. Take a deep breath. Take 3 deep breaths actually and release. The only reason I say that is that you don't want to leave yourself in an open channel, only in the sense that you don't want anything weird coming in. But tell yourself, like I said, appreciate yourself today. Send yourself love.
Thank you. So again, just continue, feet on the floor, grounded, and just focus on the heart. Like I said, day 1, we did the crown chakra. Day 2, we did our third eye. Day 3, our,
Yeah.
throat. So 1, 2, 3. And then today's day 4.
Day 5. That's what we jumped.
Did I jump? Oh, okay.
We shifted something.
I did something. I'm like thinking about it. Wait, this is the 4th bowl. Oh, wait, no, this is the core. Yesterday I did the heart chakra. Oh, my goodness. That is interesting. I got lost in that. I needed to reground. This is the core chakra.
Rebecca's point, we didn't talk about this. She didn't tell me what to do. It just sort of followed the way it was supposed to. Meaning I didn't watch the other ones. I didn't know where you guys were. I just listened to my guides where I should go today. And I texted her, I said, this is how I'm feeling. She said, yeah, do what you want to do, kind of thing. But it's interesting that it followed your exact path for your course. I mean, it's amazing.
Yes, no, this is the core. I'm sorry. I just realized that yesterday was day 4. Yesterday was the heart. We did the heart Tibetan bowl. This is the core. So this is our yellow chakra. So, okay, now that I'm grounded and I'm aware. So day 1, we did crown. Day 2, third eye. Day 3, throat. Day 4 was the heart. And now day 5 is the core. And so now it's this beautiful yellow, like you see behind me. I want you to focus on this yellow light and take these nice 3 deep breaths, everyone. Take 3 nice deep breaths to become present again. Thank you everyone for joining us. We are coming to our 8:30 time to end the Facebook Live and the recording. This will be on our page. If you missed it, you can rewatch it on our Facebook Hitler's Roundtable page. And I just want to say thank you to Sarah. Thank you for everyone that has joined in today. I really look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow. It will be day 6 tomorrow with Deborah. She's right here, right there, Debbie.
Hi,
She,
Debbie. By the way, I want to really quickly mention that I have a mindfulness page. The extension on it's Dharma Soul, misspelled like SOL. But if you guys want to, I don't know, you want to connect there, that's a place that you can find me too. It's really a place where I feed people. It's not really, there's nothing, just post and encouragement there, but but please feel free to join.
Definitely page on our Healers Roundtable, and then we'll make a great announcement there as well. So closing the live now. So remember to stay healthy and breathe intentionally. That's on the next slide.